Hello friends, how are you? I hope you're having a wonderful Palm Sunday. I am coming to you today with a little video to help you figure out the project that I've picked out for an Easter craft. Now, the first thing you need to do is go to the link that's going to be below the video and have mom or dad or grandma or somebody print out the pattern on cardstock. Okay, and then afterward we'll get to the rest of the putting together the project. So go have them do that first, and then once they've got it printed out, I want you to color it. And then after you color it will be when you'll come and see me. So I'm going to flip the camera down and I'm going to show you what I mean. So what we're going to be making is this. It's called a kaleidocycle, and it is a paper folding, really cool thing to make. I think it reminds me of a fidget spinner, but it has 4 different patterns that you'll color, and then we'll fold it and glue it or use double stick tape to tape it together in this cool form so that you can have your very own. I really love this sunflower design. So when the paper is printed out, this is what it looks like. And I don't know if you noticed, but here's one pattern, here's the second pattern, here's the third pattern, the sunflower, my favorite, and here's the 4th pattern. And because of how we fold this together, it turns into this. So go ahead and get that cut out. Now these little pink things that you see here, little red things, that's super duper double stick tape, and that's something that I have a lot of around the house, but you can use a glue stick. In fact, a glue stick would be a very good way to put this together. You might need to have a couple of clothespins handy just in case, because you're going to have to give time for the glue stick to dry when we put it together. But before we do anything, you got to color this. So once you've got it colored, then you see these lines on here. Can you see the lines in the different spots? There are lines going this way, and there are lines going this way, and there are even lines going this way. And so what we're going to do is we're going to score those lines. Now, scoring the lines means that we're going to use a straight edged object, and we're going to use something that will put an impression on that line so that when we go to folding it on that line, it will fold up really nice like this one is folding up. Okay, so what we're going to do is score those lines so that we have all of the triangles nice and scored, and that's what helps us put this together to fold it up to make it look like this. Okay, so to score the lines, we need to take a straight edge object. Now, it could be a ruler. A ruler would be an awesome thing to use. I have a card that's handy. You can use anything that'll give you a straight line and that's long enough that you can get the entire line. Now, the card is going to be a little short, but I'll be able to move it down to get the other portion of this line here. Now, some people have these things called scoring tools, and they look like, oh gosh, they look like a little round ball on the end of a handle. But you know what? We can use the end of the paintbrush just as easy to score our lines. We could also, if we needed to, use a toothpick to help us score those lines, or we could use a pencil that hadn't been sharpened yet. If mom or grandma or somebody has a crochet hook or a knitting needle, you could use that to score the lines. There are any number of things that you can use to score the lines. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to show you how this is going to work. Now, the first lines that we're going to score are going to be these straight lines right here. Now, they're a little tough to see, but they separate where the design goes up and down. There's a line that separates that larger, I think it's a trapezoid, into two different triangles. And so we're going to score those lines first. So I'm going to take my card and I'm going to put it right along the edge of where that line is. And I'm going to get it close but not quite. And the reason I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap is because the tool that I'm using, the paintbrush that I'm using, needs to have a little room to go in here. And I'm just running and pushing the edge of that paintbrush, and I'm also transferring some color. So test out on the back side before you do this. I have a scoring tool. That's how I got this done. But if you're going to try something like this out, make sure that it's not going to push any color off of the end. For our purposes today, this is going to be just fine. And I want to pull this back just a little bit so you can see. Again, I'm getting really close to the line, but not perfectly on the line. And then I'm going to push the end of my tool, whether that's a crochet hook, whether that's a toothpick, and I'm just going to push that in. And that gives me that embossing that will make it possible for us to fold this without having to worry about it folding incorrectly. So here I am with my crochet hook, changing up the tools so that you can see that it really doesn't matter as long as you have a nice firm tool that can push down and get that edge pressed into the cardstock. And you see I'm going over it 2 or 3 times just to make sure that I've got a nice embossing going there. And I'll show you what I mean by embossing here in a sec. Again, I'm just running this down 2 or 3 times, and let's not forget this line right here, because we're going to have to fold along this line to get our kaleidocycle to fold together. So I want to make sure that I fold right there on those tabs. Now, can you see on the back, and I'm not sure if you can or not, I'm going to turn on another light. Can you see those faint lines where we pressed in? You can feel it with your fingers that it's pressed into the paper a little bit. So now we're going to turn and we're going to work our first angled lines. Okay, again, we're getting, let me pull it back again. I got too far ahead. Getting really close to the area without getting right on top of the line. I'm going to use a toothpick this time so that you can see that you can use even a toothpick. Okay, so maybe you don't press quite as hard with a toothpick, but I'm just running that line right along the edge. And you see we're getting a little color from the toothpick too. I'm not sure that I would recommend the toothpick. So let's not do the toothpick. Let's do a crochet hook or a knitting needle. And again, I'm not going to be able to go all the way on this one because the card ends. So I'm going to do those 3 passes right here. Then I'm going to slide the card down, line it up, and we're going to do the rest of this the 3 times just to get that edge in there nicely. Now let's work on our next one. And again here, we're going to have to slide it down, and that's okay. That's an easy thing to do, and you can even use the handle portion of the crochet hook if it's easier to hold that way. And then we'll slide it down, lining it up again. There we go, and getting the last part of our embossing done. And then one last one here, right close to the edge without hitting the line exactly. Press down our 3 times. All right, so we've done our straight lines and we've done this angle. Now we need to do this angle. So we're going to start here. And again, we're just lining it up very close. We're pressing down on the edge. Push more down instead of at the edge of the card, okay? Because we want the force of our pass to be on the paper and not on our straight edge. Now, if you have a ruler at home, that would be perfect to use for this. You could use an empty box. You could use an envelope if you were really careful, because an envelope's not going to be very sturdy. You could use a notebook. Anything that's got a straight edge you could use. And here we go to the next line. We're getting really close, but not on top of the line. Working our 3 passes, sliding it down, getting the latter portion of this, and now one last line to do. Then comes the fun part. Okay, we have embossed on all sides, and if you were able to be here close, I don't know if you can see it on the camera as I go back and forth. I think I see it from my angle. But now what we need to do is fold each of these lines and press them down, and we want to fold them both ways. Remember how this works? It goes around and around, so we need to make sure that those folds go both ways to make it easier to use our kaleidocycle. And just press down, and then come back and press down on the other side. And press down, and then flip it over and press the other side. And press down, flip it over, press the other side. Press down, flip it over, press the other side. And then remember, we've got our tabs down here. We want to do the same thing there. Press down and then press over. Okay, so we've got our first bit of folds done. Now we need to do our first crosswise. So the same thing. We're pressing down, we're turning it over and pressing the other way. Then we look at our next line and we press down, and then we turn it over and we press it the other way. Just using our fingers, we don't need anything more than our fingers to do this. Press down and then turn it over and press it the other way. We're just reinforcing those folds. Press down, reinforcing the other way. Okay, so we've done the straight, we've done the first bit of pressing, now we need to go the other way, don't we? So, press down, and then turn it over, press the other way. Press down, turn it over, press the other way. We want to make sure that we've got each of these triangles nicely outlined and folded. Press it the other way. And then one last one right here at the end. Okay, so we've got this all ready to go, just like this one here. And I've got both of them set up so that I've got some double stick tape in each of the spots where it says glue. Now, the way this goes together, we're going to roll it forward, and where the glue is, that's where we put the triangles together. You see how that's just fitting right over? The glue is here. It goes right underneath those two triangles right there. And then after we've got those glued down, then we're going to take and put it together. So let's do that part first. I have the double stick tape, so I'm just pulling off the pink part that's over the sticky. If you've got double stick tape, you can certainly use it. I would recommend that you use a glue stick though. I think the glue stick works better than the double stick tape because it has a chance to adhere a little more solidly. Now when I'm folding this together, I like to do the center one first, and you're just matching it up, and then you're pressing gently on the edges where it's connecting. And then we're doing the same thing at the first one, just matching it up, and then pressing gently to get it to connect. And then the last one, we're matching it up, and we're pressing gently. Now this is where if you've got clothespins, you might use them. If you use the littler ones, it works out a little better. If you have clothespins, this would be a place where you could use the clothespins. These are pretty fat ones. Now, if you've glued it, instead of using double stick tape, you're going to let this dry. You're going to let the glue have a chance to connect. And then what we'll do is we'll take each of the sides and we'll press them in together. And these last two tabs, remember they were next to each other when they were flat. Now one's on top and one's on the bottom. You're going to use a little glue stick on both sides, and as you fold this up, you'll open up this end here to tuck those tabs inside. Again, this is where you want to make sure that you give plenty of time for the glue to stick. We're just rolling it all together, opening that up, putting our two tabs in. Okay, we've got our tab in the top and our tab in the bottom, and we're just holding those there. Just gonna hold it. Again, clothespin is a good thing if you're using the glue. I've got the double stick tape in there, so it's holding for right now. But I think that when you start using it and wrapping it around when it's dry, when the glue is taken full hold, I think you'll find that the glue will hold your kaleidocycle better than what the double stick tape will when you start using your kaleidocycle. And that's all there is to it. It's a lot of fun. It looks really complicated, but it's not. It's just about being patient for the glue to dry if you're using glue, or being very careful if you're using the double stick tape. And I chose this project because the flowers always make me think of spring, and the flowers always make me think of Easter Sunday when the tomb was open and Jesus wasn't there, and the dead became alive again and Jesus rose from the grave. Just like the flowers each year come up from the dark earth and come up again and show us their colors and show us that life is still there and still with us. Jesus is always with us. So I want you to have fun with this project. I can't wait until I can see you in person again and give you all hugs. But for right now, you've got air hugs from Miss Anna. I'm going to turn off the lights real quick, if I can reach it. And I just want to say Happy Easter to all of you. I love you, and have fun. Whoops, wrong way. Have fun with your kaleidocycles after you get them put together. Enjoy.